The next performer is Melody Lin, East Wind in Aotearoa.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Melody Lin. I'm a Doctor of Musical Arts student and from the School of Music. And this is my guitarist, Peter Dobliski. He's a Master of Music student and will be performing with me this evening. I have chosen to perform a different composition from my research topic because I decided to save East Wind as a premiere for my final doctoral recital. So this evening, instead of East Wind in Aotearoa, my presentation title is Toward the Sea. My research explores the use of East Asian musical elements in contemporary flute compositions, concentrating on the musical parallels with the Japanese bamboo flute shakuhachi music. The increasing global cultural flow and advances in electronic technology since the mid-20th century have fostered an ever closer relationship between Eastern and Western musical cultures, manifested particularly in the work of composers who have integrated one culture into another. Music written for the flute is a fascinating example of this phenomenon. The shakuhachi, Japanese vertical bamboo flute, became increasingly popular due to their unique timbre and performance techniques. The shakuhachi is one of the most recognizable traditional Japanese instruments, celebrated internationally at regular events such as the World Shakuhachi Festival. Accordingly, a corresponding academic interest has resulted in an even higher profile for this instrument. Research conducted since the 1990s has demonstrated how contemporary flute composition has been influenced by Japanese flute music and performance techniques. For example, in the works by Japanese composer Toru Takemitsu. Takemitsu, born in 1930 and died in 1996, is one of the most celebrated modern Japanese composer and was virtually self-taught as a musician. He was inspired by Debussy, Messiaen, and John Cage, composers who were themselves deeply influenced by musical and philosophical traditions of Asian culture. Takemitsu often incorporated Japanese musical elements in his compositions and had the unique ability to create a sound world that is beyond the boundaries of East and West. For this presentation, I have chosen to perform Takemitsu's Toward the Sea for alto flute and guitar to demonstrate aspects of traditional Japanese music found in contemporary flute composition. This piece was composed in 1981, commissioned by Greenpeace for the Save the Whale campaign. It was inspired by Herman Melville's novel Moby Dick, or The Whale. This composition is in 3 movements. The first, titled The Night, the second movement is called Moby Dick, and the final movement, Cape Cod. Through my research, I have found 3 main Japanese elements in this composition. The first is the use of shakuhachi-like performance techniques. As you can see in this example, the opening of the first movement starts with a hollow tone, and Takemitsu specified the alternative fingering for this effect. The same D is played with 2 different fingerings, as Peter and I will demonstrate for you now. The timbre of the hollow tone is reminiscent of shakuhachi's pitch bending effect. I brought my own plastic shakuhachi and attempting to show you what it sounds like. The next example shows the use of finger tremolos, also known as fingered vibrato or timbre trills. Finger tremolos is a performance technique that uses alternative fingerings to play the same note. This is an excerpt from the second movement of Toward the Sea, and as you can see, the same high C can be played on 4 different fingerings. There are also frequent use of flutter tongue in Toward the Sea, and the same effect is also similar to shakuhachi music. Here's an excerpt of shakuhachi flutter tongue, taken from Tsuru no Tsugonomi, played by Yoshio Kurahashi. And here's the way Takemitsu incorporated flutter tongue in the first movement of Toward the Sea. Hopefully you can hear some musical similarities there. All these performance techniques are used to add subtle color and timbre changes to a single note, which leads to my next Japanese element found in Toward the Sea. The importance of a single note is a key element in all traditional Japanese music, especially in shakuhachi music. The shakuhachi was exclusively used by the Komuso, monks of emptiness, in the Edo period during the mid-17th century. They used the shakuhachi as an integral part of their spiritual practice in Zen Buddhism. Shakuhachi playing is closely related to 2 of the main aims of Zen Buddhism: Suizen Ichinyo, which is to achieve oneness in breathing and meditation, and Ichion Jobutsu, which is to reach Buddhahood with a single sound. Through controlled inhalation and exhalation, one can become sensitive to the subtlest nuances of a single note, and in the process, create a still and focused mind. Takemitsu firmly believes this practice and further suggested, quote, "The universe is explored in a single sound, so with some exaggeration, I might say God dwells in a single sound," end quote. Toward the Sea, each note has its own unique tonal, dynamic, and timbre variation. There are numerous incidents throughout the piece where a low note is colored by dynamic and timbre changes. The sense of timelessness in this composition closely parallels with shakuhachi music. As you can hear, we'll demonstrate for you the ending of this first movement. And you can see that each note has a different timbre and dynamic. So please remember to listen for the subtle tone color changes in the alto flute part and the guitar part when Peter and I play this piece later for you. The final Japanese element found in Toward the Sea is the importance of silence. The rests form an integral part of the whole composition, and this is parallel to traditional Japanese musical aesthetics in that the silences need to be felt strongly in order to sustain musical tension and creativity. The concept of time in traditional Japanese music reflects the deeply rooted Zen religion's beliefs within Japanese culture. The ambiguity between existence and non-existence, perfection and imperfection, and sound and noise reflects the transitory nature of Japanese musical art. Sound and silences are not clearly defined and constantly flow between one another. As Richard Pilgrim explained, the concept of ma, an important element in all Japanese music, means an interval between the 2 spatial or temporal things and events. In classical solo shakuhachi music, ma describes the time and space between sound and silence. Achieving oneness between the two is an important part of shakuhachi performance. Tension must be felt during silences, while sound produced must be alive and creative. The Zen Buddhism belief that one should live in the moment and the past and future are only unrealistic constructions that exist within our minds are also reflected in shakuhachi playing. Similarly, performing towards the sea, tension must be felt during silences, and as you can see in this example, Takemitsu even specified for the performers to rest for 3 seconds in the middle of the music. In summary, through my research and practical research on the history, musical aesthetics, and performance techniques of shakuhachi, I have found many elements in this composition that resembles the Japanese flute music. For example, the use of hollow tones, finger tremolos, and the importance of single note and the deep meaningful silences. Through this research, I aim to help the performers to widen their musical vocabulary and shed some light on the performance approach based on true cultural awareness and appreciation. I also hope to help musicians and audiences to go beyond the notes and interpret contemporary flute composition from an expanded cultural perspective. To conclude this presentation, Peter and I would like to perform the first and third movements of Towards the Sea. Thank you.